Here is what you need to know about the Kyle McCord situation.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And folks, on this mini podcast, we are talking about Kyle McCord once again and potentially getting that extra year of eligibility because, in case you missed it, he was on Syracuse Sports Talk radio yesterday with host Brian Higgins. And he didn't exactly shut it down. In fact, he might have just poured gasoline on the fire. So this mini podcast is going to be informative. I'm going to talk about what we know for certain that is public knowledge, okay? That's the key. Public knowledge, what we know, it's out there, it's credible sourced, okay? And then I'm also going to talk about the NFL wrinkle side of this. I'm going to give you guys potentially a timeline of Kyle McCord and what you need to know regarding potentially the NFL. So that's what's coming up on this mini podcast. We're talking about Kyle McCord once again, potentially getting another year of eligibility. Okay. So what do we know? Well, the first thing on a lighter note, we know that Kyle McCord is not a very good poker player. That we know. He does not have a great poker face. I'll get to why in just a moment. Okay. But in all seriousness, let's go over what we know. We know for certain the university is trying to get Kyle McCord an extra year of eligibility. We do not know necessarily what grounds. We don't. But we do know they are trying. We know they are working. I reported this on a mini podcast just a couple of weeks ago. And then yesterday, Orange Nation host and News Channel 9 host Steve Infani confirmed that too. He posted that on his own Twitter account. You can go check it out when you're done with this podcast. That his sources essentially said the same thing, that the university is trying to find a way to get Kyle McCord an extra year of eligibility. Shout out to Professor Infani, by the way. He was my professor at Syracuse last fall. So shout out to him. But yeah, he confirmed that report. It's true. It's accurate. They're trying to get him another year of eligibility. We also know for certain, we know this for a fact, that Kyle McCord did not exactly rule it out. He didn't rule it out at all. McCord was on Cuse Sports Talk yesterday with Brian Higgins, and Brian Higgins asked him flat out, like, hey, there's a lot of speculation online about that extra year. You know, what's the deal? I'm paraphrasing for you guys. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see in the background on today's show the exact quote that Kyle McCord gave Brian Higgins. He said, quote, "I can't confirm or deny. We'll see how it all shakes out." And he did it with this smirk on his face. I mean, look at this smirk. He clearly knows something. That we don't know. We don't know that for certain, but that's what I'm saying. Kyle McCord is not exactly a very good poker player, and I am not cherry picking a certain screenshot. He was smirking throughout the quote. I just found it funny. So, Kyle, I just hope that regardless of what happens, you do not play a lot of poker because you're going to lose a lot. You do not have a very good poker face. Okay, so he can't confirm or deny. You could do with that information what you will, but he didn't deny it. So there's something going on behind the scenes. We also know that two quarterbacks recently in the portal that have been connected to Syracuse, they have gone elsewhere, or they have oddly enough not committed. It's very odd, okay? Let's start with Caden Salter. Caden Salter visited Syracuse last weekend. He committed to Colorado just a couple of days ago, but okay, he was already supposed to have a visit with Colorado. Maybe he wanted to play for Dion. Maybe they offered him more money in NIL. So that there is plausible deniability that Caden Salter went to Colorado regardless of the situation with Kyle McCord. And by the way, he would never have come to Syracuse if Kyle McCord was coming back. He wouldn't. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. Doesn't make sense for him. But then there's Ricky Collins. And this one is super duper strange. Once again, on this podcast just a couple of days ago, I posted a full podcast about Ricky Collins committing to Syracuse. Brent Axe at Syracuse.com, he reported that he was expected to commit. And in his actual tweet, he said that he will commit. So I ran with it. And I'm going to defend Brent on this one. Okay, I know he's getting a lot of heat, but I'm going to defend him on this regard. Ricky Collins was reposting all the commitment stuff about Syracuse on his social media. That was happening. So something happened because all of a sudden, Ricky Collins takes everything down and he posts on social media that his recruitment is back to being wide open. Why? I don't know. I don't know for certain. I don't know if there's public knowledge on this. I just find it really odd that there was a report that he was committing to Syracuse. He was reposting everything on social media, and all of a sudden he took it down and he's saying his recruitment is open. Was there a snag? Was this a Brooklyn Vic situation? If you guys remember that in basketball, it was like last May. Brooklyn Vic committed to Syracuse, but Syracuse didn't commit to him. It was basketball. It was a pretty funny saga. Or is there more to this? You can be the judge for yourself. It's just very, very odd timing. Very odd. So, what do we know for certain? We know that the university is trying. We know that Kyle McCord himself has not denied it. And we also know that the quarterback situation in a couple of days has been strange, to say the least. Less so with Caden Salter, but more so with Ricky Collins. So that's what we know. Coming up, I'm going to give you guys thoughts on the NFL with Kyle McCord, and maybe that is our clue for a timeline as to whether or not we're going to know if Kyle gets an extra year of eligibility or not. So stick with me on Locked On Syracuse. Hey folks, basketball season is in full swing and it's Christmas time as well. And we know that Christmas basketball games are always exciting, whether it's the NBA, college, like going to Syracuse basketball games. They're typically pretty exciting, right? And the way I get tickets for games is by using Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals and great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. My favorite feature is the curated deals. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever you would like. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code Locked On College, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, one of the best features is the subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. One other thing to consider with Kyle McCord and an extra year of eligibility is the NFL, and more specifically, the NFL draft. Kyle McCord had a great year at Syracuse. He set a bunch of records. So obviously, he could potentially go pro. Okay? I don't think anyone's going to deny that. Kyle McCord, he accepted an invite to play in the East-West Shrine Bowl recently. The East-West Shrine Bowl is on January 30th. If Kyle McCord were to play in that game, he can't come back no matter what. I don't think he can get another year once he plays in that game. Okay? However, he could, I think, always just back out and say, I don't want to play in that game anymore. And I kind of find it strange that Kyle McCord is not officially declared for the NFL draft. Now, according to CBS Sports, the deadline to declare for the NFL draft for non-playoff teams, so teams that didn't make the college football playoff, is January 6th. Okay? That's a key date. And a player has about 72 hours to pull themselves out of the NFL draft. So, in my opinion, regarding a timeline with Kyle McCord, I think it would be early to mid-January. That's my opinion. It's not fact. It's not publicly out there, but I am just using context clues. January 6th is when you got to declare, and you got 72 hours to back out. So they got to know at some point around that time frame. So it's really two issues here. We don't know if Kyle McCord's going to get that extra year of eligibility, and what is the feedback going to be like from the NFL? What is it going to be? It could very well come down to if he let's say he gets the extra year. Hip, hip, hooray, right? It could very well come down to this. Where is Kyle McCord being drafted versus how much money he can make if he returns to Syracuse? That's what it could come down to. It's tricky. It's very tricky because it has a big impact on the quarterback market right now for the Orange. The Orange are certainly gambling. They are. And I trust that the staff and the university knows more than what we know, but they are gambling here with this. I'm not going to lie to you guys. They need a quarterback this offseason. They definitely need one because as of right now, if we're looking at the depth chart, it looks like Jakari Williams, who's going to be a redshirt freshman next year, is going to be the starting quarterback. And honestly, a lot of you guys are saying, well, cool, let's give him a shot. Well, I don't think the staff wants to give him another shot. Okay? Because if they were so confident in Jakari Williams, why have they been searching in the transfer portal for another guy? Why did they even bring in a guy like Caden Salter with 1 year of eligibility? Why are they looking at Anthony Calandria of all people? Why are they trying to get Kyle McCord another year of eligibility? I don't know. But I don't know if they have a lot of faith in Jakari Williams. So if Kyle McCord does not come back to the Orange next season, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't. Maybe Ricky Collins. Is he still an option from the LSU guy? Salter and Wigman are off the board, so I have no idea. They're not linked to anyone publicly in the portal. It's very confusing. So overall, this situation is fascinating because it was something that I really wasn't even, it wasn't on my radar until maybe late November. I'll keep you guys in the loop on what's going on, but hopefully Kyle McCord gets that other year of eligibility because that would be great. As far as what is coming up on the podcast, at 6 o'clock tonight, we got Poll Friday. Will Adrian Autry be the head coach of Syracuse basketball next season? That's what's coming up at 6 o'clock. And then tomorrow, Syracuse basketball plays against Maryland in Brooklyn at noon Eastern, and there will be a full post-game reaction podcast. Thank you for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen today. And for your second listen, you can check out the Locked On ACC podcast. Alex Donald, Kenton Gibbs, they keep it real and bring you the truth about where your favorite ACC team stands within the conference. You can find Locked On ACC on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Folks, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this video, click that like button. If you really liked it, subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications so you know right away when I am dropping the next podcast. And I will see you all at 6 o'clock tonight.